This Big 12 Game of the Week edition, Utah Utes at Baylor Bears on the Big 12 College Experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our SGPN free roll football contest. Join our free season-long pick 'em up to $3,000 in prizes and a Super Bowl autographed SGPA helmet up for grabs. Sign up link in SGPN app. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag those tickets without the stress. Use a promo code CFBX on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app and use the promo code CFBX. And we are also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the underdog, pick 'em in college or NFL. Win 20 times in one game. Use the promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit up to $100. And last but not least, we're brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use the promo code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any NFL game. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code SGP. And welcome, everybody, back to the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. We're on to week 2 in the Big 12, talking Utah Utes, Baylor Bears. We got another matchup in the Big 12 of a newcomer next year taking on, I guess, one of the Elite 8, the 8 members that will continue in the Big 12. If you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin, and joined each and every episode. And Utah Utes fans, you're going to get used to this guy because, believe it or not, he was born in Provo, Utah, so he's on the other side of the Holy War. But don't worry, he's a walking contradiction because he also lives in Morgantown. He is Rambling Rush. Rush, time to bring in the Utah Utes and the BYU Cougars, old Holy War.
Absolutely. And I guess we're looking forward to having Bryn on the show talking about this matchup coming up here. I guess we should have given her the warning that, yes,
I purposely did not for this reason.
Yeah, it's smart. We get him in and then get him trapped, and then we can let him know. Yeah, so, parents went to BYU, brother went to BYU, was born in Provo. It's definitely great that the Holy War is back. Kind of on the other side, a team that's already in here, and we'll get to Joe here in a second too. The altercation, Baylor being a Baptist school, so I'm kind of stuck somewhere in the middle this episode. But hey, it's all fun and games, especially when it's the Big 12. So getting excited for this year and next year, definitely.
And that's why you're a walking contradiction, and that's
something
why
like
it's
that,
your
right?
So, hey, a third man in the box. He's back at Walters, getting ready to go over to watch some baseball here tonight. He's got family civil war everywhere in the Big 12: Stillwater, Norman, Austin, Waco. He's got his seed spread along, whether it's in Orlando, Cincinnati. He's the Big 12 guru, Troy Chewning. What is up, man, from Walters in Washington, D.C.?
Well, obviously, I'm going to have to work the mute button again. It's pretty crowded in here because the Mets are in town, and everybody fucking hates those people. But it looks like it's a family affair on the camera behind me when fucking Captain Obvious and Big Pete show up, half blasted already, just ready to get involved in anything. But, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it might not make Bryn any happier, but maybe good for Joe. You know, I'm actually a Baylor fan, even after last week. So we'll hope for a little bit of a rebound here, but maybe we'll get a little bit of insight from Joe to make me feel a little better.
And we have teased our guest long enough, welcoming onto the Big 12 College Experience. Her name is Bryn. She is the host, or one of the hosts, over at the Utah Fans podcast. So go follow those. Watch on youtube.com/the College Experience. Sees their Twitter handles, her Twitter handle. Bryn, first, welcome to the show. Second, welcome to the Big 12. And I knew I surprised you with Rush being a BYU fan and Troy being a Baylor fan. I didn't include that when I reached out to you to come on this show.
No, you didn't. That's all right.
Hey, dude. I to make it clear, I was one of the biggest proponents of getting Utah to the Big 12. It's the Holy War is a very underrated rivalry. It's a great rivalry, and it's this such conference madness, right? To finally get some of those rivalries back playing every year. Thank goodness, right? And looking forward to playing here, probably starting next year at the Thanksgiving weekend, Black Friday every weekend. But Bryn, let me ask you: is Utah back-to-back Pac-12 championships? Obviously, all the crazy Big 12 news going on. You just got your revenge on Florida. You're rolling. You guys are on top of the world, it seems like. And not only did you get your revenge on Florida, you did it without Rising. You did it without a bunch of other starters. What's the temperature right now in Salt Lake? How's everyone feeling?
I mean, last Thursday was so fun. For anyone who watched, you saw the stadium. It was rocking. I mean, it was just so fun to get that kind of revenge win, because that last year, that loss really hurts. So, the Pac-12 is going to be so hard this year. I think Utah fans were realistic in that it is a stacked conference. It is not going to be easy. Three-peat is for sure the goal, but it's going to be really, really difficult. But we're on a high right now. I mean, last Thursday, you can't beat that. Beating an SEC school, that doesn't get old ever.
No,
it does not.
Now, I know the place was rocking in Utah on Thursday night, but do you think the location of this game has any kind of play to do with the outcome? I mean, everyone was talking about maybe not having Cam Rising for this game in Waco and all that, and they get a backup quarterback out of Baylor. Do you think the location is kind of the only thing that could throw them off?
Road games are always harder. I mean, there's the comfortability of being in your home stadium, your home crowd, everything like that. And so, yeah, I think it can play a part. That's kind of one of the things that makes me a little nervous for this game against Baylor, because new stadium, we've never been there, new environment, new temperature, humidity, all that stuff that we don't really deal with here in Utah. Like, I don't know, I've heard it's going to be like 110 degrees or something like that. So yeah, I think it can play a factor. That's what makes me a little nervous.
And Bryn, I would say Kyle Whittingham is the best coach in America. From a guy that likes to get down on a couple games and bet a couple dollars, Kyle Whittingham is the best coach in the country at keeping his injury report discreet. Cough, cough, the game last year against Oregon State where the game kicked off and they go, wait, where's Cam Rising at it? He's just in street clothes. So headed into this game, do you kind of get the sense that they knew that all along that there was no way Cam Rising was going to come back from that ACL injury? And it's kind of not that they're punting on the potential to play in the playoff, but is it all in on getting back to the Rose Bowl and hopefully winning the Rose Bowl for in year number 3? I think we lost Bryn, so maybe we can get Bryn back. Let's go over here. We'll see if we can get Bryn back. I think this is a good time to see if we can we'll skip over to the Baylor side of things, because coming on, we got.
Do we have to?
We do. We saw your guys' tweet over at the Bear Den, so go over there and follow Joe Goodman and those guys over there. It has been a tough week. We are West Virginia fans, Rush and I, so we share the pain. We didn't lose as a 4-touchdown favorite. First of all, Joe, welcome to the Big 12 show, and welcome to the Big 12 show. How are you, man?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I won't compare losing a night game in Happy Valley to losing a home game against a borderline FCS squad, as kind of what we consider Texas State down here. It was rough. Troy, sorry, I don't think I have much good news for you coming up on this week, based on what my expectations are, but I am jealous that it looks like you've got Captain and Tennille hanging out behind you. So,
so Joe, so you may or may not know, Troy's mother went to Baylor. I chose Baylor as my dark horse this year. That's not looking too great right about now. I don't need to remind you that. So this is, don't get me wrong, a very pro Baylor podcast. And I will to clarify something. Chose them as my dark horse for the Big 12. So, hey, put Texas State aside. Don't have to. It doesn't affect their Big 12 record. But obviously, news came out. Blake Shapen's out 2 to 3 weeks. Where does this go from here, especially with Utah coming to town?
Man, I don't know. This was one of the games that I had like circled for years now. We were coming out of like the Bryles era scheduling, and it takes forever to get actual decent scheduling because these things are planned so far out. So we had just dog shit scheduling for the longest time. And so it was finally like, we're getting Power 5 people in here. Oh, we've got Utah coming to town. We've got Auburn coming up. We've got Oregon coming up. And then you just lay the egg like you laid last week. And it would be one thing if we had gone out there and it was just GJ Kinney, the head coach of Texas State. He led the world in points scored and yards in the FCS last year at Incarnate Word. So it'd be one thing if he came out and it's just like, man, that dude just out schemed us and we just got beat by, kind of a fluky game where they were throwing it all over the place. They beat us in one-on-ones. But man, sitting in that game, we were getting blown off the ball on offense and defense by guys that should not be blowing Power 5 offensive and defensive linemen off the ball. We seemed a little. The offense, I'm actually not worried about, surprisingly, even with Shapen being out. I kind of like Sawyer Robertson. Not to say that I think he's better than Shapen by any means, but I was not as low on Shapen as many were last year. But I think Sawyer's got some skill. Jeff Grimes, former BYU offensive coordinator, he can really, really make a quarterback look good and run a system to kind of help protect them with the running game. But against a Whittingham coach defense, as hard-nosed as they were going to be, man, my expectation was this was going to be some kind of dogfight where it might be a low-scoring affair where it was just whoever won, you just tipped their cap to them and said, man, you just beat the hell out of us today. Thank you. We'll be better prepared for it as we go on. But now I'm kind of at the point where it's like, there's not a line on Utah high enough that I wouldn't hammer it.
So the only thing that I'll bring up that my mother says all the time, being very, very clued in and like a very good alumnus for Baylor, is the team seems like they would rather play for Sawyer Robertson than Blake Shapen. Like maybe he's been around long enough that they kind of know what they're going to get out of him and they'd rather see someone else. Is there any hope to that at all? Like, is there really a chance that they kind of open the playbook up with nothing to lose with Sawyer Robinson or something like that?
I wouldn't be surprised. If you listen to Dave Aranda's comments all offseason, the one overarching theme has been around confidence. And I'm starting to wonder if it was like he was trying to artificially build that confidence or build that belief from the rest of the team in him, because there's the fan base at least really did kind of give up on Shapen last year. So it's college football. Who knows? Backup quarterback comes in and does crazy things, as you guys saw a couple years ago with us with Chandler Morris coming in a TCU game right after Gary Patterson gets fired. We're all sure we're going to win that game, and Chandler Morris comes out looking like Johnny Manziel, and eventually doesn't even keep the starting job. Max Duggan gets it back, takes him to the playoffs. So
I think we might have lost Joe now. You got to love technology, man. You always can rely on technology.
Me too?
I think we're Joe. There's Joe. Joe's back. So, yeah, you got to love technology. Just when you don't want it to fuck up, it will fuck up.
Yeah, don't worry. It's not live or anything.
No. Trust me, it's not the first time something is fucked up on the college experience, and it won't be the last. Joe, let me transition this next one over to you. Dave Aranda takes over for Matt Rule. Come over, he defensive coordinator at LSU during the Coach O special run there in 2019. What's the fan base after the disappointing opener? Last year was a disappointing how they finished 6-3. I mean, could his seat get hot here by the end of by midseason? Maybe it is year number 4, and Baylor is a Texas school. I think we lost Joe. So you know what we'll do? We'll slide Joe out until we get Joe back, and we'll bring. Well, actually, I got to get us paid because The Big 12 College Experience is brought to you by DraftKings. You believe we had 7 months without an NFL game? Crazy, I know. The NFL is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and you can't miss an offer for 1 week. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is hooking up everyone with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single day in September. Check out the app and see what you get. I kind of teased it, Rush. I'm all over New England here. Home dog here, week number 1. I will bet the Patriots here, getting more than a field goal. So get over there, download now, and use the promo code SGP to sign up today. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's the code SGP on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. The crown is yours, and if you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. State restrictions apply. Gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance. And if you're looking to go to the Utah Utes and Baylor Bears game this weekend, get over to Game Time because they got the best deals. If you want to buy tickets for your favorite events, it shouldn't be that stressful. Shit, everything's expensive nowadays. Get over there to Game Time. They can help you out. It's fast, easy to buy tickets, music, sports, comedy, killer last-minute deals. Planning's overrated. So if you want to be a procrastinator like myself, wait till the last minute, get the best price guaranteed so you can stop stressing over the tickets, start getting hype so you can have fun watching the Utah Utes and Baylor Bears. Rush, you are a big advocate of the Game Time. I know you're ready to get down on some Game Time this fall for some football games.
Absolutely. Football, always nice meeting Troy at Nationals or Capitals game. I guess we're kind of, this episode's like an inspiration to the Capitals with all the line changes between Bryn and Joe. So, hey, I like it. The hockey line changes are back and hockey season's around the corner as well.
Got a cycle on the go, baby.
Hey, and make sure you use the code CFBX. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we are back on the Big 12 College Experience talking Utah Utes and Baylor Bears. All right, we welcome back to the Big 12 College Experience. The Wi-Fi is fixed in Salt Lake City.
Let's hope.
Bryn and Joe, common theme here. They both went out when it was my question, so maybe I'm the problem here. Bryn, I don't even remember what I was asking, but I do remember. Cam Rising, I felt like Kyle Whittingham knew all along he was not going to play. They game planned all summer. I joked about how Kyle Whittingham, he's the best coach at hiding his injury reports. It's actually a skill, which means he runs a tight program, which I respect. Do you get the sense that they're kind of just holding on to Cam Rising for Pac-12 play, and it's all in on trying to get back to the Rose Bowl for number 3? And if they get to the playoff, that's great. But with how hard the Pac-12 is this year with all those good teams, that's just gravy on top.
Yeah, I mean, my gut is that Cam won't play this weekend. He won't play next weekend. He'll wait until conference play. I thought he would play last week. I think you're right. Whittingham that's a skill. I think he loves playing chess, like in his off time, if he has any off time. He's all about those mind games. But I think you're right. I think they're going to hold Cam. I think if you can win without him, give him some extra time to recover. We were able to win against Florida without him. So I think for these next couple weeks, I think they'll hold him back. And then hopefully we get full healthy Cam for the gauntlet of the Pac-12.
So 2 years ago in the Pac-12 championship, you played Oregon. Last year, you played USC. You played USC twice. Fantastic games, especially that first one. This year on the schedule, of course, they're not doing you any favors. You're at 6 USC October 21st, and then you go back home to play Oregon. So they're definitely trying to go after the top there. What is does the Pac-12 come down to those 2 games again? Do you expect to win both of those? How do you see those shaking out? And then, the Pac-12 championship from there?
No, I actually think the season's going to come down to the USC game, the Oregon game, the Washington game, the Oregon State game, the now Colorado game. Who knows? Like, I mean, even Utah has to play every one of those teams this year. Utah definitely has the hardest schedule. Don't listen to USC fans. They think they have the hardest. Utah definitely has the hardest.
Don't worry, we don't.
Yeah, you don't listen to them.
This is not a pro USC podcast
by any means.
Not ours either. But yeah, going to the Coliseum, that's going to be hard. I think we've beat USC 3 years in a row because we beat them the year before that. Beating them 4 times in a row, is it likely? Who knows? They still don't have a defense, but who knows? Playing on the road again, it's always hard. Playing Oregon at home, I can see us winning that, but then we have to go to Washington like the week or two after that as well. So the whole Pac-12 season is just going to be such a big roller coaster, and there's going to be massive upsets, and no one really knows what's going to happen.
So I wanted to really expand on the idea that Cam Rising isn't going to play until conference play, and maybe even further than that, because you said Kyle Whittingham probably likes to play chess. I think the way to get the motivation from the team has to do with they're expecting something like a Rose Bowl, but how do you get them to that next level of like Final Four or college football playoffs? If they go through the non-con without Cam Rising and they go to Waco and win this game, do you think that, builds a lot of confidence up?
Yeah, absolutely. If we can go 2-0 and then we come back home and have a pretty easy win, if we can start conference play 3-0, that's huge confidence going into Pac-12 play. But Whittingham is such a 1 week at a time kind of guy. Like if you ask him about any of those games down the road, he will not answer. And he builds that into his team as well. He knows that if you overlook a team, that's when you get beat. So
but he's got to be thinking about them, right? Like as good of a coach as he is, he's got to be thinking more than one move on the chessboard.
I would think that the goal is always the Pac-12 championship. They don't look beyond it. They really don't. And because that's just like, it's out of your control. So the focus is Pac-12 championship. They'll do whatever they can to win the Pac-12. And then whatever happens after that is great. Now, as a fan, of course, I want to get us over that hump. We've made it to the Rose Bowl twice, which was so awesome. We lost both times. So we got to get to that next level, but that has to start with winning the Pac-12.
Yeah, no, I love Whittingham, and I'm rooting for Utah, and I'm not just saying that because you guys are coming to the Big 12. I rooted for Whittingham before that. I love his brand of football. I hate the prima donna USC brand of football. I love when you guys punch them in the mouth every time you play them. That was beautiful last year when you knocked their asses out of the playoff. That made my whole season. So, Brad, before you get out of here, we'll put you on the spot. And yes, those in the chat is alive and well. One Sharp Shark is on fire. Brenda, put you back on the spot. Prediction for Saturday, and does Kyle Whittingham, Cam Rising, and this veteran group, proud group, the last Pac-12 year, do they make it 3 in a row and get back to Pasadena and win it this time? So 3 questions there. I put you on the spot 3 times there.
3 questions.
And you need a score too, because this is a gambling show.
Okay. I think optimistically, I'd like to say we're going to go into Baylor and win. I think we're going to get some guys back that we didn't even have play in the Florida game, specifically on defense. Like 3 of our defensive starters didn't even play. And so they've had the time to recover. Offensively, I think it's going to be a lot of what we saw, same personnel played against Florida. But I think we can go in there and get a win because I know Baylor, they're having a backup quarterback too, and they've lost some players too. I don't know. I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring. I'm going to say like 28-14. And then what was the third question? Can we win the Pac-12 again?
No, I know you can.
Oh, will
like
we?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen you do it 2 years in a row. This is a proud program. The final dance in the Pac-12. Unless you're Oregon State and Washington State, God bless them. But do you get it done once again and get back to Pasadena?
It all depends on Cam Rising. I hate saying that because that's kind of such the cop-out answer. If he comes back and is healthy, yeah. I think we do it because I think this is the most talented Utah team we've seen. I think it's the most talented defense we've ever had, which is saying a lot. But we got to have that Cam Rising spark on offense. So if he's healthy and good to go, yeah, we're going to do it. And we'll beat USC in the Coliseum too.
Oh, I love it. I'm already looking to bet it. Everybody listens to me knows I have no problem fading USC, UCLA, Oregon, and why all the soft schools. I'm about Utah and Oregon State, so I'm pulling for you guys and your guys' brand of football. Well, everybody, go ahead, Brent.
No, I was gonna say we're excited. Next year we'll see you all again. We're excited to join.
Yes,
absolutely.
And get over there. Quit wasting your time. Bryn's giving us good information, and I tuned into the Utah Fans Football podcast today. You guys were recapping the Week 1 win and looking ahead to Baylor. So get over there, follow them. They're doing the Lord's work over there in Salt Lake City. Bryn, thank you for taking time to come on the Big 12 College Experience, and you will be back because you are now a member of the best league in the land, the Big 12. So welcome once again to the Big 12.
Thank you, guys. Go Utes.
That includes you, Rush.
Say it. Just say it.
Go Utes. I'm all
Pac-12 Utes. Go Pac-12
Trying to win the conference is going to suck now.
All right, Brent. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Have a great one.
We'll see you. Bye-bye. Get over there. Follow Brent and those Utah Utes guys over there on the Utah Fans Football Podcast. They're doing great work. Can't wait to have Brent back on. And you know what? We got Joe coming back on, but on the other side of this, because we got to talk about Underdog Fantasy, because it has a way to play along your favorite football team all season long with their fantasy pick 'em. You pick between 2 to 5 players, whether select higher or lower. Then you usually just spend your Sundays doing what you're always going to be doing. That's watching freaking football from freaking 1 o'clock to midnight, whatever, depending on what time zone you're on. If you're in the Mountain Time Zone, it's 11. You guys do the math. You're smarter than me. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, but you can win real money. Troy, any NFL props for week number 1? Any guys you're looking to back headed into this NFL week 1 slate?
I think there's going to be a pretty good chance that Patrick Mahomes scores a rushing touchdown as an anytime TD guy without having Travis Kelce there, possibly not being 100%. I think there might be a chance he runs one in. So I'm going to go with a rushing TD, an anytime TD from Patrick Mahomes.
Love it, especially with no Kelce. So, hey, Jayhawk fans, Wildcat fans, get over there, bet on Patty Mahomes going for Super Bowl number 3. It was fantastic when he beat the Eagles last year. Watch along, make your picks, and maybe you'll get a little bit of cash over on Underdog's mobile website, underdogfantasy.com. When you use the sign-up code, promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's the Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. And last but not least, we're brought to you by our free roll football contest, free season long, all season long in the NFL pick'em contest. $1,000 for first place prize, $500 for second. And if you're a Patreon member, catch this, for the NFL season, your price can double up to $2,000 and $1,000. Plus, if a Patreon member wins a free roll football contest, they'll get an autographed full-size Sports Gambling Podcast helmet, which are pretty slick if you ask me, which includes guests like Joe Theismann, Hail to the Redskins, Bill Romanowski, Pac-Man Jones, Hail, West Virginia, baby, John Sally, Eric Metcalf, and LeGarrette Blunt. How about that lineup? There you go. Rush is a big LeGarrette Blunt guy.
Trauma, baby.
Yep. So get over there, sign up in the link. Sign up in the link with the SGPN app. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get for your chance to double your prizes and win the weekly Patreon pick'ems. And we are back on the Big 12 College Experience talking to LeGarrette Blunt and the Baylor Bears. He has waited very patiently. He's got
Before
his
Joe
Wi-Fi
gets back
fixed.
on, we got to talk about how great this comment was. Shout out to Sharp Shark. Shout out to
One Sharp Shark is one of the best comment trolls in the business. He gets at me and J Mark every time on the NFL show. So get over there, subscribe to the NFL Gambling Podcast. But we got to welcome back on the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Goodman from the Bear Den. Joe, we got the Wi-Fi fixed, and you know what? I think you had bad energy the first time around because you were very negative about the Bears.
I cranked down my video resolution, so maybe that'll help. Also, by the way, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes picks, and you tell Kansas and Kansas State fans to go pick Patrick Mahomes, and you forget the largest Kansas City fan base actually exists in Lubbock, Texas.
Well, yeah, the Red Raiders. Yeah, good call. So Red Raiders fans.
They probably bet on that like years ago already.
Yeah.
Who beat Patrick Mahomes? Skylar Howard twice for West Virginia.
Everybody beat Patrick Mahomes in college.
That is fair. But let us Virginia fans have something, please.
And that's when Fade Cliff Kingsbury was a real thing, and everybody thought he was going to do well at the NFL. How the hell is he going to do well at the NFL when you can't win with Mahomes at Texas Tech? I digress. Anyway, Joe, like Bryn, your Wi-Fi connection went out when I was asking a question. I won't take offense, just like Bryn. So, what was I asking? I already forget. Oh,
hot seat.
Hot seat. Yeah. Dave Aranda, year number 4. It's been an interesting tenure, 2-7. Then you win the Big 12. You were hot last year, 6-3. You guys were right there. I'm thinking, hey, they're going to make another run at this thing. And then the wheels fell off defensively. And then this is the worst thing that could have happened. Losing to Texas State. It is Baylor. Waco, Texas happens to be in the state of Texas, where people are very impatient with their football programs. Could Aranda's seat get hot here in the next couple of weeks potentially?
Yeah, it's already warm after last week. I mean, if we're being honest, the different group chats and friends that I have around the Baylor sphere, it's the conversations are starting. I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat today, but it's definitely warmer than it's ever been. And let's be realistic. Like, I think he's 8-25 outside of the 2021 Big 12 championship year. But a Big 12 title, it gives you some form of a leash. It's hard to judge after 1 week. It's a terrible game. We looked awful. You go out and you beat Utah, though, all sins are forgiven at that point, right? And everybody kind of forgets the Texas State. You're like, oh, wow, we just went out. We beat a top 15 team, a team that's won back-to-back Pac-12 championships. As you guys were talking to Brent about, a team that has legitimate playoff hopes this season. So if he goes out and wins that game, kind of all sins are forgiven kind of thing. Even if he loses it and it's close, and then you go out 2 weeks later and maybe beat Texas, and nobody will remember the Texas State game. So I think you've got the opportunity here in the next, 2 games in the next 3 weeks to really come back and say, like, hey, that was an outlier. And if you can do that, then everybody's happy again. But everybody's in a bad mood right now.
Yep.
So speaking of everyone being in a bad mood, obviously you just said if they beat Utah, especially if they beat Texas, then everything's forgiven. It's just, we messed up one Saturday against a lesser opponent. We'll make sure that doesn't happen again, type of thing. But how likely do you think that is? Like, do you think they still kind of have that sting? Are they able to flush that one down the toilet?
Man, the one fault of Aranda that I've seen since kind of day one, he's cerebral, he's intelligent, he's a great press conference. I would love to play for the guy. He's too nice. And it's something that we've all wanted to, like, get upset, get mad. There was a moment in the post-game presser after this week where he was talking about how he didn't give Richard Reese, our starting running back, freshman All-American last year, enough touches because Dominic Richardson, the guy that we had transfer in, had a little bit of a hotter hand. And he said, maybe I should have given. No. Don't apologize to a kid for not giving. Like, it's fine. You can give the hot hand the more carries. Like, you don't have to be the nice guy all the time. Be angry sometimes. Get mad. But maybe that's just not his personality. So, the likelihood of it, I don't think we beat Utah. I really don't. I just don't think a team that tough is going to line up. I was joking with a buddy earlier today that I think the only opportunity that we have to win this game this weekend is if Kyle Whittingham just decides that, there's no water in Gatorade because that's for the week, and his whole team just gets a cramp in 110 degrees. Like that was the joke I made earlier today. And that's kind of like, we do have the heat on our side, but I was looking at the weather. It's like 98 degrees in Salt Lake City anyway. So it's not like they're hanging out in 80-degree weather right now. It is 11 a.m. So, it's a little bit of a time clock game maybe for them. And they don't have the greatest success leaving Utah in the non-con. So they don't have kind of the altitude advantage that they normally have coming down to much closer to sea level in Waco. So there's a few little variables that'll happen there, and maybe they get fired up. Maybe they're embarrassed and they come out and play their asses off. I don't think there's a huge chance they win that game, though. I'm just looking for them to show some like gumption and want to, and actual like fight, maybe some aggression and violence in this game. The Texas game, on the other hand, though, I think there's going to be some angels that come down from heaven and just play the game for us and do not let Texas walk into the SEC after beating us, because there's just no way that'll happen. It'll be an emotional game. And even if we're turning into the Kansas of yesteryear, then at least Kansas was able to beat Texas too. So that's what we'll pull off.
Now, I would say after watching the Texas State game that the biggest weakness was what anyone that followed Baylor knew was going to be the biggest weakness, and that's their defensive backfield. Not really Dave Aranda's specialty. I know he's more of a linebackers and like front seven kind of designing guy, but do you think that maybe that calmness of Dave Aranda helps in this moment after the loss? I mean, obviously it didn't help in the spot where they needed to possibly get mad or something like that, but do you think that the response will be a little more, I don't know, measured or so, just because of the way that he approaches the game?
It's very possible. I look at it this way, though. The calm demeanor is great in big games that mean a ton, meaning like you're going to a conference championship game or a big time bowl game. It's not going to overwhelm you. I want to see anger after losing to Texas State. That's just my opinion, but it's true. A lot of teams will go into that and they'll get maybe too upset and they'll over adjust. But you're right. He's not a safeties guru by any means, but that was the whole reason of bringing Matt Powledge back. He was the safeties coach in 2021 when we won the Big 12. He went to Oregon to go be the co-DC there for a season. We brought him in now to be the safeties coach again, and now the defensive coordinator. But it was the first time he's ever called plays. So maybe there's a learning curve a little bit there. So who knows? Maybe we'll see some marked improvement, and maybe that demeanor turns out to be a plus for us. But I generally look at the calm demeanor as being really beneficial when you're good and everybody's gunning for you, not necessarily when you're not performing well.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. And by the way, when Texas loses to Alabama this week, you're going to knock them out of the playoff in 2 weeks. So we already grabbed it at +8 in the preseason. They're really going to give us a good number now. That thing's going to be 13-14. Hammer that right now. That's a Sick'em Bears angel moment, as you say, Joe.
My goal is to usher in the Arch Manning era.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Yeah, no, you're going to start the downfall of 5-7.
It'll be Malik Murphy first for sure.
Well, that's true. We'll just have to get both of them out of there, Troy.
There you go.
We'll see if they both make it out of Alabama healthy. Not wishing an injury on anybody, obviously, but hey, they're playing the Tide. We'll see what happens. But Joe, before you get out of here, just like I asked Bren, prediction on the game, and how do you see the season finishing out? Obviously, this is not how you envision it starting. Like Rush said, this was Rush's dark horse to win the Big 12. That's still on the table. There's plenty of situations where somebody drops a non-con like K-State last year. Do you think they get it turned around, and do you think they win on Saturday? I don't think that you think they're going to beat the Utes, though.
I'm not going to pick them to beat the Utes. The one advantage that we do have in conference, though, is that we have 8 home games this year. We got a crazy schedule. So we have 1 point in our season where we play back-to-back road games. It's at K-State, at TCU. That's going to be really tough. We'll see if TCU's any good. I think maybe the Colorado game actually might be an outlier for them. Maybe Colorado's way better than we thought. But Baylor does set up nicely schedule-wise. It's not as easy as like an Oklahoma schedule, just based on the teams that we play. We do have to go to the Bounce House in their very first Big 12 home game. But you're right. Like losing a random non-con doesn't get anything off the table. Iowa State in 2020, when they won the Fiesta Bowl, they lost to Louisiana Lafayette in their first game.
Yeah,
so
got killed.
There's history of something like that happening.
And game prediction, score prediction.
Oh, I'm going to predict it's going to be something like 35-17 Utah.
Oh, so you're predicting a beatdown. So you and Brent are both laying the points. All right. Well, I hope you're wrong because I want the Big 12. You guys.
I hope I
need
am too.
need
But
yeah.
As a battered Baylor fan,
Emotional
I've always
hedge.
learned just to take myself to the other end of the spectrum and just let myself be excited. Kai, I see your chat question. I will
Yes,
be tailgating
thank
at
you.
Brazos parking across the street from the stadium. Hit me up on Twitter. I'll get you there.
Yeah, hit in. Good plug there, Joe. Follow
No
Joe.
tailgate, no rolling up in a boat.
No tailgating this weekend. We might have. We were talking about having one for the Tech game. We'll see.
I might have to sneak down there.
Oh, yeah. I might need to get to Waco for that. They send Texas off the right. FU way to the SEC. Follow Joe Goodman on Twitter at @_Joe @_Goodman. And go follow the Bear Den. Those guys are doing great work in Waco. Basketball season's right around the corner for them as well. The Bears are going to be loaded once again under Scott Drew, the national champions in 2021. Kai, go see Joe over there this Saturday for the Utes and Bears. Joe, thanks for stopping by the Big 12 College Experience. I can't wait to have you back on at a future date.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks so much for having me, man. This is a blast.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. All righty, Joe Goodman from the Bear Den. Go follow him over there. Those guys are doing great work. I listened to their show today. Tough times. This is Rush and I just did a post game on West Virginia losing at Penn State. Nobody likes to fucking lose. I think we can all agree on that. Even if you're not playing, your chin's a little bit higher when you win, and when you lose to Texas State, that's a tough show. So those guys, professional effort, and found a way to keep it positive and right this ship on Saturday. All right, let's dive into week 2, guys. Troy and Rush. 3 lines that are not out. Southern Utah at BYU. Rush, any headlines coming into the second game for the BYU era in the Big 12?
Yeah, it'd be nice if the offense can score more points.
Yes, it would, because Keaton Slovis sucked ass on Saturday.
He did not look good, but all the defensive concerns, I had nothing. Jay Hill's defense looked great. So, yeah, you better get the offense right because Arkansas is on deck, and that could be a long Saturday if you're not ready for those guys.
Pig suey. Mormons going to the pig suey to roast some pig. That could be a bad duo. All right, the Dukes at the Mountaineers. The first battle of Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh. The first battle of Pennsylvania went to Pennsylvania, but we're trying to get 2 out of 3. Rush, back to you for the Mountaineers. I've had enough talking Mountaineers.
And check out the Ryan and Rush show. We actually did a show right before this. We go live every Monday through Thursday. It's more of the West Virginia side of things. We had Zach Weiss on. He covers Duquesne football, kind of got a breakdown of these guys. He predicted the score to be 35-17. And I'll tell you what, if it's 35-17, I might just disappear. You may not see me on the Saturday post-game show, right?
My asshole puckered thinking about that score.
That could be fireable for Neil Brown.
Yes, but hey, we're no bad vibes.
Right before Pitt, bring in the interim coach and get everybody's couches fucking doused in lighter fluid.
Absolutely. So for this game itself, offense, let's see some firepower, and defense. Let's pitch a shutout, or at least as close as we can to one. Really give something to build off of going into Pitt. So 35-17 is not going to do it.
No, that shit needs to be 55-17. Troy, to you. Nichols goes down to Fort Worth. Wrong place, wrong time here, Nichols. TCU going to put it on him here, Troy?
This is wrong place, wrong time, written to a T. I mean, I can't imagine this spread being under 39.
Yeah.
I mean, TCU's offense moved the ball. They did fine. They just threw interceptions to maybe the best college football player on the fucking planet on the 10-yard line and, fumbled a couple of balls down there. But it's not like their offense had an issue moving the ball against Colorado, and they won't have an issue against Nichols. This will be a get-right game to the max. I mean, whatever the line is, they're going to cover this. It'll be like 56-3 or something.
I agree.
Well, I think what's lost, like the overreaction to TCU in Colorado, TCU rushed for almost 300 yards. If they had just kept running the ball, they would have won. But people are killing Kendall Briles because he replaced Riley, who's over at Clemson, who had a bad night last night. But I mean, they scored 40 plus against Colorado. I'm looking at can their defense fucking step up a little bit and start stopping the run? So we'll see what happens with the Frogs. All right, so those 3 games don't have lines. Let's move along to the first game on Friday night. The Black Unis of the Jayhawks, prime time. Jalen Daniels back. Illinois, big fella, Brett Bielema rolling in there to Lawrence at the track field. Just kidding. I know you guys, you Jayhawk fans, don't have a track. I'll take this one, guys. I'm looking for Jalen Daniels. Beam did a good job last week filling in. That offensive line, those weapons around him, that thing continued to roll kind of like last year. I'm looking at how Jalen Daniels looks. Is he a little bit rusty? That they didn't get to play that Missouri State opener. I think he'll be fine because I think he's a badass. But I'm also looking at, can Kansas defensively be able to hold Illinois' rushing attack? Because last year Kansas's defense sucked ass, and that's why they went 6-6. So can they contain the run a little bit and just let Jalen Daniels cook? Troy, you got anything on Jalen Daniels? I know that's our guy.
Yeah, I think the confidence in the team in Jalen Daniels after seeing the first 6 games last year is going to allow the defense to attack a little bit more, and maybe they give up a few deep passes or something like that, but Illinois is not going to throw the ball all over you. Just stack the box, live with what occurs, and ask your quarterback to go out there and be the Heisman candidate that he is.
Yeah.
I'm early line at 3. I am all over Kansas at this. I would buy it up to 9.5.
I think I agree with Troy. I don't know if I'd go all the way up to 9.5, but maybe I will. But I also think it could be what happened with Duke last night. Like this basketball school, I don't think people realize how good Kansas is with Leipold. They've all got the seniors back just like Duke. So it's a national stage to prove how good this program is under Leipold. The other school in Kansas has a trap game. This is a scary game, K-State fans. And I know you remember the Tulane game last year. Tulane, obviously really good, went on to the Cotton Bowl, beat USC because they just ran it right down their throat. But they dropped the game because they had Oklahoma on deck. K-State's got Missouri on deck. This is a tricky spot, Rush. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we saw what a former Troy coach could do at Troy and not do at West Virginia. So I guess maybe there's something, a little bit in the water at Troy. But yes, yeah, you're absolutely right, Ryan, is potential trap game for Kansas State. Going back to what we were talking about with Bryn earlier on the show, the Kyle Whittingham, hey, take this one game at a time. And if they take it one game at a time, then Kansas State will be just fine. So
either way, it's a lot of points, and we'll talk. We'll do an in-depth preview going into the week. So, speaking of a lot of points, what the hell? Who the hell is laying more than a field goal? Donald J. Trump will be at the Cy-Hawk Bowl this year. Straight off the press release, he's betting the under is probably what he's saying, and I'm sure he'll release it in his statement before the game. Russ, you're the Cy-Hawk guy, or you're the Cyclone guy. What the hell's going to happen in this game other than 10-9?
Dude, I think we're going to be asking ourselves every Iowa State game, what the hell's going to be happening in this game? Because no one knows. No one knows where the money's going. No one knows what's capable. No, we don't know anything. But here's what we do know, that the grass is going to be long. It's going to be a grinded out slugfest. And the first team to 2 safeties wins the game. So that's what we know.
Talk about a perfect game for Trump to go to. This is going to be a total shit show at this game. This is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to watch this game. So, and on the other side, Forenza's son, he's got to score 25 points a game. He couldn't even score 25 against Utah State. I don't know how the hell they're going to average 25. If he couldn't pad his point total against Utah State, how's he going to do it in the Big Ten and against Iowa State? Go ahead, Troy.
It's a chess move to force his offensive players. Like, he didn't want to put up 56 last week and give himself a cushion.
Yeah.
He wants to force his players to know, like, hey, maybe this week we need 26.
I don't see how they get to 26. I thought Iowa State looked fucking fantastic.
This plus 4 line stinks like none other, but it's going to be fucking awesome for teasers. I will tease a teaser. This plus 4 line is for Iowa State. I mean, -4 for Iowa. This plus 4 line for Iowa State is workable.
I like it. I'm with you. All right, Troy, back to you, because Boomer Sooner, fresh off scoring 777 points against Butch Jones. Surprised he actually has a job after that game. ACC's coming to Norman. SMU, the Stags coming in there. What do you think, Troy? What's a little headline we look out for here?
Now, through all the previews we went through, I kind of pointed this game out as, this could be a bit of a slip up. I'm a big fan of the SMU program. They turned down money from the ACC for like 9 years. They're joining the ACC without taking money. So that tells you how much oil money there is at SMU. 16.5 seems a little big. I know what Oklahoma did against maybe the second worst team in all of Division I football. I think they can score points, and the way that they looked with even the backup out there executing well, but I think it's a little bit of a farce. I think you might see a bit of TCU out of this Oklahoma defense here against SMU. A few missed tackles. Maybe it's only like a 14-point game.
I like it. I like the fade teams after they score 80 or whatever the fuck it was. I mean, I think that thing has a way of evening out karma. It's coming to James Franklin. Moving along, Rush, to you here. This is an interesting line. This one kind of reeks at Pitt's laying more than a touchdown. Rush, Emory Jones, Scott Satterfield, they looked impressive. Taking the road, look ahead spot for Pitt because they got the Mountaineers on deck in the brawl.
Look ahead spot for Pitt. And
can Natty pull it off?
Oh, yeah. They can. They probably won't. I could see this being one of those games where it's just there's really not a lot going on. Both sides aren't really scoring. It's like 3-6 at halftime. And then going into the fourth quarter, it's, I don't know, like 13-10, if that. And then it's going to be kind of who gets the ball last. This is actually, I mean, even speaking of West Virginia, I'm glad we got Duquesne this week. And, Pitt has Cincinnati because they can't be looking ahead in this spot, but they will be. So this is just going to be an ugly game. Actually, here's the question. What's going to be uglier, the Iowa State game or the Cincinnati Pitt game? They'll both be pretty ugly in different ways, but
the answer is Iowa State.
You're right. But
now,
ugly in terms of I could just see miss passes, receive, just ugly.
There's a chance the Cincinnati Pitt game gets really, really ugly if there's a Cincinnati fan that has the wherewithal to contact a Pitt fan and have somebody get Permane Brothers and then just dump Skyline chili on the top of the Permane Brothers sandwich. You got roast beef, fries, sauerkraut, chili on top of it. And it's going to look just like the game is going to look when you sit down on the toilet afterwards.
That's what I'm saying.
I think you're a madman if you lay more than a touchdown with Narduzzi. I've always said that. Just like I'm not laying more than a field goal with Iowa ever. So system play here. And if you want to watch this game, you better go to Baghdad where you can get the Pac-12 network and the CW network. So shout out to the CW network making their debut.
A lot of viewers in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, they got the Pac-12 network there freaking showing volleyball or whatever the hell they're showing. All right, game of the week other than the one we just previewed. I guess this is the game of the week. Or there's actually a couple other candidates in this late window. The Ducks, fresh off scoring 90 points against Portland State, ran the fucking score up. My God. Guns up, look ahead spot. Rush, this is a great bounce back spot for the Red Raiders. Don't you agree?
Texas Tech money line.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Simple
Troy?
as that. Texas Tech money line.
Yeah, even outside of that, I think it's at 6.5 right now, and you should jump on that before it gets to 7.5. I really think this is a pretty big chance for Tyler Go Shuck yourself to show himself against his old team. Again, the reason why they lost last week is because he was looking at this game. Now we got to factor that in. He's been looking at this game. I expect him to perform significantly better, even though it's against Oregon.
Yeah, this will be Shuck, whatever you want to call him, his Super Bowl. Also, Bo Nix on the road. That's back in effect. So, yeah, look to back the Raiders. Grab it now. But I think you can wait for a 7. I think the public will come all in on Oregon. We will be on the Raiders. I think we know where we're going for here. Texas going down to T-Town, Tuscaloosa. Nick Saban. Troy, here we go. Is this the moment they've been waiting for? Texas is back. They're going to beat Alabama. Revenge. Is it going to happen?
If Malik Murphy makes an appearance in the second quarter or earlier, Texas will win this game. That's all I'm going to say. Quinn Ewers is not your guy. Throw the dude that looks like he's supposed to be a stud at quarterback that makes all the plays out there and let him go ahead and do it. That being said, Alabama wins this game by 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys flipping on your Texas preview prediction?
All fucking day.
Of course.
It's amazing because everybody talked up Ewers, and maybe I'll eat shit on this. Ewers is a big time thing, top 5 quarterback. He still misses throw after throw after throw. He did it last year. He's doing it again. Shit has not changed, and he's got all the answers. So maybe I'll eat shit and he'll ball out against Alabama. But until I see it, yeah.
First $1 million NIL.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks in week 1 that miss passes and they're consistently overthrown, you can kind of, maybe he was amped up. Quinn Ewers misses passes like a 20 handicap golfer misses fucking fairways. They just go wherever. Like they go who knows where. No, if Malik Murphy can get in this game, and Malik Murphy can beat Jalen Milroe. Alabama's quarterback is Milroe, right?
Yeah.
Right. Malik Murphy's significantly more talented than Jalen Milroe. If they can put him in the goddamn game and ride with him, I would not be scared of Texas getting close to running the table. But Quinn Ewers is not him.
Agreed. All right, that's enough Texas SEC talk. This one's a trap spot too. Houston coming off the big win, in-state little brother. Dana hits the road. JT Daniels and the Rise. The Owls. Rush, I'll give this one to you. Are you a little worried here for our Cougars?
Yeah, because they left it all out on the field against UTSA. They really had to make a statement. They did play really well. And then they have TCU on deck and then Sam Houston. And so their first 5 games are Texas games. Yeah, 10 points is a lot. I think Houston can get out of this, but anytime I look at a spread, and if my first reaction without even have to thinking about it is that's a lot of points, I know where I'm going with it. So I'll leave it like that. Hey, we'll see what JT Daniels is capable of. Hey, he's playing the Big 12 schedule that he might end up playing more Big 12 games this year than he did last year for us. So hey, it's too bad the hand JT Daniels got dealt here. I really like the guy. I think he's a good quarterback. I think it was mostly injuries he was plagued with last year, and it just bad coaching, not a good situation. But I do wish him well, and I think you can cover 10 points against Houston in this game, especially at Rice.
Yeah, I think this is a tricky spot.
I think Donovan Smith is a worse quarterback than JT Daniels, and because of that, giving a better quarterback 10 points is a pretty easy, not just a lean. I think Rice has a chance of winning this game on the money line, to be completely honest.
I agree.
For the same reason that Houston blew their load in week 1. This might be a bit of a letdown spot, and I don't think Rice is that bad of a team. They kind of made Texas look shitty. I think they could make Houston look shittier.
And quick side note, this is a look ahead for Houston. Houston's got TCU to open up Big 12 play, the opener in H-Town. So that place to be jumping for next week. So, all right, Bounce House is going to bounce across the country into the blue turf at Boise State. Boise got their fucking ass kicked, but there's a proud program. They're good on that turf. Troy, tricky spot here for our very, very shiny Golden Knights.
Very, very tricky spot. Since the blue turf has been installed, Boise State is 182-39. So, extremely tricky spot. UCF goes up there and beats them by more than 2 possessions, though. You saw what a good offense could do to Boise State. I don't think John Reese Plumlee is that far behind Michael Penis. So,
Rush, any thoughts on the Bounce House going up to the blue turf?
No, originally I was on Boise for this game, and I'm probably switching over to UCF here, even with this spread. What we saw last week, and I know it was Kent State. I know their coach left. I know they have their issues going on, but Plumlee's incredible, man. That is
I like him.
Troy tried to warn us all off season, and I, of course, I believed him, but like, it's one thing like hearing something, and it's one thing seeing it. Just ask Ray Rice. And that Plumlee, like, it was incredible. Like, I think he can go up there. They can go up there and win by at least 2 touchdowns.
I think it's something that we have to start looking into as we assess college athletes. He's a full 2-sport athlete. He's
a badass
pitcher for the baseball team.
Yeah.
And he understands, he can flip that switch. He can go from baseball to football. He's competing at a very high D1 level in 2 separate sports. He's obviously got the mentality to handle big moments. Yeah, this UCF team is starting to scare me. I mean, I said Gus Malzahn wants to go quick, and that works in the Big 12 better than anything we know.
Yes, it does. And in the nightcap, oh, man, I can't wait for this one. Oh, man, we got a quarterback conference going out to the desert. He don't know who he's playing. He might be playing his fucking son. Coach Gundy, subscriber of the Big 12 College Experience. I'll take this one, guys. I'm looking to see who plays quarterback. He played all 3 guys last week. We'll see who emerges. We're going to be in league play before we know it. They're way better than Arizona State, but it's still road trip. Gundy going to be at the poolside, shirt off, got the mullet out at the pool. I trust the culture and my guy Gundy to get out of there alive. We'll talk about the spread later in the week. Yeah, that'll do it, man. This is honestly, week 2 might be the best schedule in all of college football, like the whole season. I was looking at some of the weeks. There's a couple ones in November, but man, this is a loaded freaking schedule.
It's redemption week for the Big 12, Ryan. It's more than a big schedule. This is, hey, you got to show the Big 12 clearly won the offseason. But hey, let's win this season too. So big redemption week. I especially, Baylor goes out there, beats Utah. A couple of those other guys that lost last week, TCU goes back out there. Well, I guess they're playing Nichols, but I mean, at least show us something that you're capable of. Obviously, West Virginia put on a great thing against Duquesne. And hey, especially these bigger games like Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Kansas, Illinois. I mean, you can make up for what was lost last week easily with this week. So big week, a lot of pressure for the Big 12 this week.
Huge.
And speaking on making up for what you lost last week, we saw a lot of home dogs last week show up and at least cover their spreads. There's plenty of home dogs to pick from in the Big 12, but if you want to make some money up, Iowa State +4 at home and Texas Tech +6.5 at home. Most of the time, you don't even have to look at the opponents in order to see those numbers and be like, man, this is kind of fucked up. I think there's a tip-off here. I'm starting to lean into your idea of a bounce-back week for the Big 12 here, Matt.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No doubt. And save some of those. We're going to save some of those dogs for Thursday when we pick every single game against the spread.
Just thinking about the lines right now. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to be
Big 12 parlay.
Yeah. I will say we're going to have a sexy Big 12 money line dog parlay that we're going to queue up on Thursday. So you're going to make sure you want to listen to that whole show. We're going to have every game. This is a bounce back week. We talked about it. We won the offseason, kind of felt ourselves, got punched in the mouth a little bit here week 1. But it's time to bounce back. This is Big 12, man. It's best conference year round. Time to bounce back, get a couple big wins, statement week. Before we get out of here, Rush, tell everybody where to find you before we come back on Thursday.
At Rambling Rush, Twitter, Instagram. You can also follow the show Ryan and I do, the West Virginia Focus Show, at Ryan and Rush Show. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter. We got some big announcements coming up for that show. And, hey, we're looking forward to a long Big 12 season ahead. Appreciate all your support.
You guys can always find me on the X. It's not Twitter, Rush. It's the X. You can find me on the X at Troy Chewning, just full name, TroyChewning. Or you can come over to Walters or Nats Park, maybe even Capital One Arena. I'm sure I'll even make a FedEx appearance this year. I think I'm going to go up there, just not early on in the season where the staff is not prepared for a complete sellout that they haven't had in over a decade. I think I'm going to stay away from that for at least a few weeks. But, we'll be making fun of Texas, even making fun of Baylor. I mean, I put up a Baylor meme as a Baylor fan that was shitting on Baylor that did a pretty good amount of rounds. So I'm an unbiased content creator, I guess. I don't want to really label myself as that, but
I think
I guess that's what it is.
Logistics of what you're saying. You guys can find me at Moneyline_Mac. Get over there, subscribe, smash that like button. We're doing the Lord's work over here. Each and every game in the Big 12, each and every week. Go check out the main show, the college football experience. I don't know if you guys saw fucking Pick Dundee and NC Nick had a hell of a week picking games. We picked some good dogs. 20-13 on my locks.
When they count my whenever Tally counts my player props, I think it'll be maybe even now. I've got to be up there pretty high too. There are not a lot of player prop bettors in the sports gambling podcast.
I think you're the only one that does that. You and Noah. So shout out to Noah.
I did not miss a single player prop this week. The Jalen Daniels ones got canceled, so no big deal.
Yep. And hey, we're getting on Daniels again this Friday night. Go subscribe to the FCS College Experience as well. We'll see you Thursday night picking games. I can't wait. I'm out of beer, so I got to get out of here. Let it ride, everybody.